Hello everybody, welcome back to Art Time for All. Today we are going to be talking about zentangles. Zentangles were invented in 2006 by American artist and calligrapher Maria Thomas and a monk focused on meditation, Rick Roberts. They say that zentangles are an approach to mindfulness. And they say this because it helps you to stay in the here and now. Basically, zentangles are a small abstract form of art created by a collection of patterns. It comes from the words zen, which means balancing the mind, and tangle, which is something twisted together. The goal of this artistic practice is to achieve calm. Practicing zentangles can help you with concentration, creativity, meditation, self-confidence, and it also improves eye-hand coordination. Now, you may be wondering, where can I get inspiration for my zentangles? You can use patterns that you find around you, like flowers or furniture. You can repeat common shapes to create a pattern. You can use some of the tangles that Maria and Rick already used also. If you want to see an interview where Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts talk about their project, you can find the link on the description. If you want to visit their Zentangles webpage to look at their patterns, you can also find the link on the description. Okay, now let's warm up our fingers and do some tangles. The material you're going to need is going to be a pencil with an eraser, or you can have an X-ray eraser, a fine point marker like a Sharpie, or one of these micron pens that have different fine tips. This is supposed to be very thin. And a regular marker. This is a thicker tip. And you're also going to be needing a piece of paper. The first step is going to be to divide our paper into 8 squares or segments. So I'm going to fold my paper in half like a hot dog, and I'm going to mark my line. And then this paper, I'm going to fold it in half to the left. And I'm going to mark my line. And then I'm going to fold it in half one more time. Be careful, because now it's getting thicker. And you're going to mark this line as well. Open your paper. Okay, now that we have our paper folded into 8 segments, we are going to use each one of these segments to create a pattern. I'm going to show you some of the original patterns done by Maria and Thomas, and you can also invent some of your own. The first pattern we are going to do is called Zghetti, and it seems like spaghetti. So you start with a dark drop, and I'm going to do this with my thick marker. And then with my thin marker, I'm going to go around this drop 3 times. I'm going to go once, twice, and 3 times. Look at how close together my lines are. The objective here is to have as minimum empty spaces as possible. And this way, I'm going to fill out my whole space. So I'm going to start with another drop right on top of this one, and I'm going to fill it out in black. And I'm going to give this 3 layers. One more drop. I'm going to make this one come this way. And my 3 layers. And I'm going to keep doing this until I fill my whole area. When you are in a tight space like this, be careful not to overlap your lines. You want to stop where you already have a line and then continue where your line would come out on the back. Try not to cross your lines on top of each other. When you reach the edge of your square, you can also stop your lines and let the pattern kind of get lost into the background. You can also make a couple of drops in advance and then do all of your halos for those dots. Use a small piece of paper on the edge of your project so that you don't have to clean up your desk after this. I am finished with my first tangle that is called Zghetti. Okay, let's move on to the next one. For this next one, with our fine tip marker, you're gonna make a cross, and then you're gonna make another cross on top of it. Now that you are here, you're gonna make a little V between each one of these lines. So I'm gonna go with a pencil first. I'm gonna make a V here, and then I'm gonna make it go in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I go in, back out, in and out. This tangle is called Afterglo. The next step after this is going to elongate my lines all the way, making a curve. So from each point, I'm gonna make a curve until the end of my square. Some of them are closer together, some of them are further apart. That's okay. You just need to make a little curve. And now we're gonna continue going in and out from line to line. So I'm gonna start on this line, a little bit higher than the first one. And I'm gonna go in and out, in and out, in and out. And every time I go out, I need to touch my next line. In and out, in and out. And you're gonna continue to do this all the way around. Keep your lines very close together. Don't leave any big gaps in between. A lot of my students ask the difference between a doodle and a zentangle. So the difference would be that a doodle, which is just some mindless drawing, would be exactly that. They are totally random and you don't really have to be focusing on anything. And a zentangle are intentional patterns and they usually have layers. For example, on our first pattern, we have two layers. One is the dark drop and then the halos. On this pattern that I'm doing, this Afterglo, we also have layers. We did our asterisk and the sun rays going out, and now we are doing the filling in between my rays. So the zentangle patterns are intentional, and they are just, we're trying to make them a little bit more beautiful than just random. When you hit the edge of your pattern, for example here, what I'm gonna have to do next time, and here I'm also hitting the edge, so I'm gonna stop here and then I'm gonna continue on my empty spaces. If I can continue my line in some areas, I will, and then I'll just fill in whatever I still have available. For example, I'm skipping all the way down here because I want to leave my next space empty for my next tangle. Okay, now we have covered all of our square with the tangle Afterglo. Our next tangle, it's a really fun one. This one is a little bit more free and it is called Lava Juice. I'm gonna start with my fine tip marker and I'm going to start right on the edge here and I'm gonna make some bumps on top of my paper. Some of them are gonna be thicker than the others. Kind of like as if a candle was dripping wax upside down. And now I'm gonna go all the way down, and I'm gonna start making my drips from the bottom going up until I join my 2 lines. Once I have this, I'm gonna start making some bubbles inside. These bubbles are gonna stay empty. And I'm also gonna make some drops on the empty areas outside. Now, all of this is gonna be filled out. My outside drops are gonna be covered in black, and all of my juice will be covered in black, except these bubbles. Those I'm gonna leave empty on the inside. There you go. This is lava juice, and this is more of a free kind of pattern. Okay, our next one is called lantern bow. And we're gonna start this with a squiggly line. So you're gonna go making like an S all the way down. And then you're gonna go in front of it, and you're gonna make the same line bumping into your first one. So you're still making S's here. And you're gonna do this as many times as you can fit on your paper. Once you have all of your S's, you're gonna make a line in the middle, and you're gonna go around the shape, and you're gonna do this a couple of times close to your line. Depending on how big your areas are, is gonna be how many times you can do this inside. This is our lantern faux tangle. Our next tangle is called Lanie. To make this tangle, you're gonna start with a grid. So I'm making some lines that go across my area, and then I'm gonna make some lines that cross my first ones. So I am making some squares in here. Once I have my squares, I'm going to start at the bottom of each square. I'm gonna make a dot, and from this dot, I'm gonna make 1 long petal and 2 smaller petals on each side. And I'm gonna do this on each square. Now, remember that we said that zentangles have layers? So for example, on this pattern, what I can do to make a layer would be to mark all of my circles in black, like so, and also color all of the background part of the flowers, the parts that I cannot fill in with petals. So I would do something like this. There you go, guys. This tangle is called Lanie. Okay, moving along for our next pattern. This is a simple one. So I'm gonna start with a pencil. I'm also gonna do some squares on this area. So I'm gonna draw some lines going across like this. You could use a ruler if it makes you feel safer. And then I'm gonna draw some lines going from the top to the bottom. Like this. Now, on each one of the squares, I'm gonna do something different. On the first one, I'm gonna make a smaller square inside. On the second one, I'm gonna make some lines filling up the space. And then I'm gonna repeat the square and the lines. On the next one at the bottom, I'm going to flip my pattern. So I'm gonna make lines first, and then my inner square. Lines, square, and so on. So now here, I'm gonna do a square. There we have the basic of the pattern, and now for my layer, what I'm gonna do here is fill in all of these frames in black. Okay, you guys, we have finished our next tangle. This tangle's name is Carrés. And for the next one, we're gonna do something a little bit different. This time, we are gonna start with a tiny circle in the center. Once you have your circle, you're going to start from the bottom, tracing your circle, and then you're gonna make a line go out and make a wave from the edge of your circle. This is going to one side, and then I'm gonna make another line going the other way. And now from here, you're going to start recreating this line as close to the original as possible. Okay guys, this is another tangle example. It's called the Verve. And now that you've done some samples with me, it's time for you to create your own tangle. So you're gonna create your own tangle on the last square. I'm gonna leave some extra inspiration here so that you can get some ideas. I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ciao guys!